All right, good. Hey, guess what, folks? We are live. A big day for Mutters and Lightning. Hardline has some prop bets for us on those and the NBA going to Game 5, plus controversy on the golf course and in the NFL coaching ranks. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Daily Fish Hook. I'm John Daly. I'm in Myrtle Beach. He is Eric Fish Snyder in Las Vegas, joined by our man Hardline of the Daily Fish Hardline, John Hardison, also in Las Vegas. We're going to get you ready for weekend sports. Plus, we will tease the Daily Fish Show coming up on Monday night, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. We're also on a new network we're going to tell you about. And, folks, another fascinating weekend of sports fish. What are you fishing on?
I'm pissed off. I got to start this thing off with controversy, okay? We are pissing off. And if you go on their YouTube site here, the tag on the show was quit pissing off women, okay? I had a lot of complaints last night, all right? Women are talking about Roe versus Wade. We're going to get political before we get into sports, all right? I have to go watch my granddaughter, my wife, a little bit because my son and his wife are looking for baby formula. That was the shortage of tampons. Okay, we are pissing off women. We don't go through this. When a woman looks at a man, looks at us, and they look at our penises, we look like this. Jimmy Durante's nose. Jimmy Durante's a guy in the 30s, Hardline. Look at that. That's what we look like to them. They're flowers. They're wonderful people. They should run the world. I've said this a million times. I've gotten shit comments, gotten a lot of great comments. All the men, all the tyrants in this world, Genghis Khan, Hitler, Mussolini, all right, all the hardlines, ex-women, ex-girlfriends, all the tyrants are men, all right? We need women. We're pissing off women. We're trying to stand up for women and tell you that we're going to do whatever we can on this show to get you what you need to take care of your flowers.
Good point. I love it. Hardline, what do you think about that now that he just dissed you with as far as dictators?
You know, look, there's a reason why I jumped off that ship and I found the right one. So, I've sought asylum in a better situation, a better place. But no, what Fish is saying is absolutely correct. I can't disagree with him at all.
Yep.
We're pissing off women, John. We're all married, right? The women,
yep.
they hate us anyways because men have the power and they're smarter and they can take more pain than we can. And I wonder, before we get into our deep dive here we're going to talk about a great sports weekend. What would happen if every single country on this planet was run by a woman? I bet you. I'm just saying this, not to look like Mother Teresa and Father Flanagan here. I'll bet you the world would be a better place.
Yeah, that's right. I just finished a book about strong men, about all the dictators that have been going on since the 1940s, from Mussolini to today, and they're saying that at some point there probably will be some women dictators coming up, but there haven't been so far. So, good point. All right. Hey, let's jump on to some of today's stuff. The Belmont is happening with Kentucky Derby winner Rich Strike, now one of the favorites. Epicenter, the big favorite in the Derby and the Preakness, is not even running. Plus, New York has had a ton of rain. So, Hardline, my thing to you is wade through the mud for us on these bets. Who do you got?
You know what? I think I'm actually go with Rich Strike. And it's only because, look, last time he was out there, he came from behind. Now that it's raining, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge. He might come from behind again. Look, he's a late kicker. I trust his jockey. I think he's got a great jockey in the fact that he knew his horse that well. Yeah. I know We the People is the favorite right now at 2-1. But you know what? This might be what he was looking for. This might be what this horse needed. And look, I got to trust what Rich Strike did before. And so I say put your money on Rich Strike.
What do you got there, Fish? Who are you going with?
I love the fact that it's an 8-horse field. It's not a lot of horses. I like Mo Donegal, okay? Sounds like someone who played in the 70s in the ABA with Artis Gilmore. I love Mo Donegal in this thing. He's 5-2, okay? He's right. Rich Strike's going to be a sentimental favorite, and We the People. But in an 8-horse field, man, there's a good chance at one of those 30-1. It's hard on. Do you see someone that's down there, like a 30-1, that has a shot in this thing?
Like the best one probably would be a Golden Glider. That'd probably be the one I pick right there. That if it's going to come, that's going to be the best one that you got.
Do you have a perfecta trifecta bet at all, or would you stay away from that?
I would stay away from it. I mean, it's so hard. Hell, if you could barely hit it on a horse racing machine to hit the Quinella for 1 and 2, I'd stick with you just betting straight up.
All right, cool. All right, hey, the Lightning with a win tonight can get to the NHL Finals against the Avalanche. The game is in Tampa. Hardline, what are your picks on this as far as the betting goes?
Man, this is the hard one. You know what? With everything being as close as it is, I would actually take the Rangers plus 1.5 tonight. I think even if they lose, they make it a tight game. They're a great team. They're a great offensive team. I just think that the Lightning have been here before. I still think if the Rangers can win this game, they'll win the series. Even though they're in Tampa Bay, something tells me the Rangers are going to make this a knockout fight. You know, look, we've been a little back and forth with hockey. I told you guys to take the Oilers. Mea culpa on that one. Who would have thought being up 4-2 in the third period, you blow, screw the pooch on that one. Statistically, who knows that? But, the great one wasn't on the ice that night. So with everything going on, I'll take Tampa Bay plus 1.5, and I think that you're going to get a score within the first 10 minutes of the game. I wouldn't even be surprised if you got a score in the first 5 minutes of the game, just because how they've been moving back and forth the last few games between the two of them.
And Fish, you and I have been talking about how, Tampa Bay is seeing a lot of Rangers fans down there. What are you thinking for tonight?
I couldn't agree more with Hardline. We just said his entire synopsis of that game, and I think he's right. If the Rangers win tonight, they're going to go to the Stanley Cup. That being said, Hardline, we follow all four major sports, and we know how big daily hockey is in his hometown of Detroit. John Cooper might be the greatest coach that no one knows about or talks about. And he's the coach of the Tampa Bay Lightning, who's on the verge, if they make the Stanley Cup, of a dynasty. They could win three Stanley Cups. I'm intrigued by this. And either team's a great. The Avalanche are loaded, Hardline. They have major injuries, and they just next guy up.
Yeah, they are. I mean, look, we talked about this earlier in the season. We talked about this even before the playoffs started, that I thought the Avalanche were probably the best team in the NHL. I had them winning the West, during our pre-NHL start. I thought they were the best. And I mean, right now they're 4 games away from winning a Stanley Cup for their hometown. Granted, it's going to be a salt in the wound, but hey, they are the best team right now. I think that I would like to see them play the Rangers. I think that would be a much more competitive matchup. But I think them playing Tampa Bay, it's going to be just basically a bunch of scoring with a little bit less defense. I think with the Rangers, you get more of a little bit of a brawl.
Okay. All right. Hey, NBA Finals. What a great seesaw affair, as we saw last night. I think still great basketball. I think it's a testament to both the coaches and the adjustments they've made. The Warriors go home tied at 2-2. What are your bets on this one, Hardline?
I mean, they needed that win. I mean, if they didn't get that win last night, it's over. They're getting killed in the paint, and that's one thing. And because they're getting killed in the paint, anyone from a Robert Williams, I would take them to have at least 10 rebounds. I think Robert Williams is kind of their Achilles heel to a certain degree because they're not getting those second chance points. In terms of the game, we've been going back and forth. I'll take Boston the next game because it's been back and forth. One game, the next game, one game, the next game. I'll take Boston. I'll take Boston plus 3.5. There's nothing outside of what Steph Curry has done that has impressed me with the Warriors right now, especially as sad as it is. And I know everybody's been harping on him. I don't know what's going on with Draymond Green. I mean, you're paying this guy $100 million, and he's nowhere. He's fouling out. He's not even giving you double-doubles of 10 and 10. Yeah. The steals are what came up big last night for them, but they've got to get a little bit more out of him, and they've got to get some more consistency out of Jordan Poole as well. One guy to keep your eye on, and I really like him, Andrew Wiggins plus 15 points. He's been really consistent in terms of scoring for them over the game. I would take him plus 15 points in that game. And last night, he quietly had a double-double. So I would definitely, if he's got 6 or more rebounds for you to take as a prop, I would take that as well.
Nice. What do you think, Fish?
All the pundits, and I listen to all of them. I watch all the shows. I say it in every podcast we ever do. They come up with these who's better than who. There are guys at ESPN, I won't mention names, that think that LeBron James is a better talent than Steph Curry. I disagree right now. I think Steph Curry right now is the best player in the NBA. He knows how to dominate a game, and he takes over a team sometimes and takes that team. What do great players do, Daly and Hardline? They put the team on their shoulders, and they find a way to win. He was so amazing. He was so brilliant in the fourth quarter of this game. I'm going to go the other way. I like the Warriors to win this next game, but I wouldn't shock me if I don't bet against Hardline. You know, if the Warriors win, John Hardline, would you be surprised?
No,
No.
I wouldn't be
No.
surprised at all.
Mm-mm.
But I wouldn't be surprised. I would be a little bit more cautious of how this is going to end, and the biggest reason why is I don't think, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, Fish. Has Golden State finished a series on their home court? Have they won in Oakland, or have they always gone on the road and finished?
I think on the road they lost to Cleveland. I know that, but you know that was Cleveland's first championship with LeBron. I think they won it on the at the Oracle in Oakland. But this is different. This is San Francisco, and we talked about a dynasty with John Cooper. If Steve Kerr pulls this off, he's got to be talked about daily in the likes of the Auerbachs, the Phil Jacksons, the Pat Rileys. I mean, this guy's just a great coach and a great leader.
I agree. And then at the same time, too, I love what the Celtics have done. I just love their defense. I love that they're gritty and they've got a balanced scoring. So it's a great series. It's just a great series to watch. Go ahead. Go for it.
An addendum to that, I just finished watching. I'm going to binge watch. Take Heidi's segment. I just watched a movie called The Hustle on Netflix. Adam Sandler plays a guy that goes out and finds players overseas. And you just see the great cameos in the NBA, the Sixers. Doc Rivers is fantastic in this thing, and it's really good. It's interesting that Sandler is married to Queen Latifah in this thing, and when they make out, that's a great. That's the word for make out thing. It's like when Jabba the Hutt was kissing Princess Leia in one Star Wars movie. I mean, Queen Latifah's all woman. I would love to if I get a hall pass. Sandler looks like a midget. No offense. It's like Dudley Moore and Shannon Tweed. It's the greatest thing ever. But you got to watch this movie. Brilliant.
Yeah, it's funny. My wife Terry just brought it up and said to me yesterday about that. And a lot of people she's been talking to have said, "Yeah, we got to go see it." So, Hardline, have you seen it yet?
Haven't seen it yet. It's on my list to watch this weekend coming up. Just to kind of watch everything that's going on. One thing I want to point out, that I really appreciate, and I think that Boston doesn't get enough credit for it. They've been playing a lot of old school basketball. They're not trying to, run out and shoot at the three. They've been feeding their big man the paint. They've been slowing the pace down. It's really something to appreciate in this day and age of everybody just chucking up threes and trying to run a Daryl Morey special of it's better to take a three than a two.
So what you're saying is, what he's saying, Daly, I want Daly to agree or disagree. Whoever gets more physical in this best 2 out of 3, and Boston's more physical than what you're saying, I see it too. They could take this thing, and they're gonna. I love it. I love the fact that we have two teams that are going down to the best 2 out of 3. But you're right. And you know what? If Jason Tatum plays like Jason Tatum, they'll take the next 2.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree, and I love the fact of how well Marcus Smart has played. I thought he was more just a defender. And he has been really good offensively.
Stud.
Yeah. The majority of that team back in March, we would have never thought they were going to be here. So the fact that they've turned things around like they did is amazing.
So Daly, hold on, because remember back in March, we picked a team. We talked about what team could make a run to the NBA playoffs or deep in the playoffs, and we all picked Boston. We picked Boston, so we picked it well.
But at the same time, too, a lot of people would have disagreed with us back then.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, there's no doubt.
Wait a minute. I went back to that thing we talked about that. We were all kind of on the Brooklyn bandwagon, thinking if Kyrie and Durant stays healthy, that just and then Philadelphia with Harden going over there and Joel Embiid, but it just worked out that the Celtics and Brad Stevens. Don't you know him, Daly? Am I wrong?
I don't think. No, I've never met Brad. Never met Brad.
Well, he's great in The Hustle. He's in the movie. Great. It's great. The NBA and the NBA ratings are up 12 to 15%. The first time their ratings have been up in 12 years, and it's great. People are watching, and good for them. Good for them. We got a good series, and keep it going.
Good time. Yeah, cool. All right, hey, let's do a little bit of controversy here in a couple of stories. Controversy tied to politics. Washington's defensive coordinator, Jack Del Rio, got a $100,000 fine for belittling the attack on the Capitol on January 6th. Let me just throw in my opinion here and let you guys go at it. First, I think what Del Rio said was either really uninformed or very partisan toward the people trying to, what I think was overthrowing the government. I don't believe he should have been fired for a stupid opinion. Let's put it this way. I mean, if you're going to fire people for stupid opinions, I would be off the show since I picked the Los Angeles Angels to win the American League pennant. So I understand where people are coming from, and I do understand people think maybe he should have been fired. He's just an uninformed opinion, I think, more than anything else. What do you guys think? Go for it. Fish, give me yours. Of the week. I love it.
I love Jack Del Rio. I met Jack when I was bartending at Mom's Saloon in Brentwood when he was a kid. Okay, he's coming with Sean Salisbury. Great guy. Met him with the Rays. Great guy. He's a Trumper. Very, very big military guy. He's the reason why that Raider locker room kind of imploded in 2017 was against the kneeling. But you have to be informed in what you say. You cannot compare what happened to a murder of George Floyd to an insurrection. And if you're watching these proceedings, you notice that Fox doesn't show any of the content of this thing. It's crazy. And we could have a whole segment about what's going to happen with this. How I feel about politicians. I can't stand it. He wasn't fired. He was fined $100,000. Okay. And he apologized. Do I think that apology was sincere? Absolutely. Okay. I know the guy. Okay. But, there's two things here. Don't you know that when you say something or you write something, it's out there to everybody? Yep. And we're in a cancel culture society. Keep your mouth shut if you believe something. If you know you're going to stir up controversy. Do I think it was wrong? Yes.
Hardline, what do you think?
I think that he was an idiot. Just be very honest. I think that saying I think that calling this a dust up was the worst phrasing that you could. I think that he didn't think that something was going to happen. I think that there's people that he has to sit down with, especially those players. And this is, I'm surprised I didn't hear someone, even though he's retired, someone like Malcolm Jenkins offer to sit down with him to talk about the differences between what happened with George Floyd and the insurrection on January 6th, the coup that was taking place. The biggest thing is you're going to say this, especially during a time where, we're talking about politics. The Washington Commanders are looking at either getting a new stadium, and they're trying to either relocate the stadium to, I think it's Virginia, and they're trying to and they need the funding. And there's been politicians, senators, and House representatives that have said, look, like, I'm pulling my vote in terms of funding, and you need that backing in order to get this done. I think it was a poor time to say it. Why he decided to tweet it in the day and age of social media where everything is recorded, everybody goes back and looks at everything that you've done. Ask Kevin Hart why he didn't host the Oscars, why you would even put yourself in this situation. I do think that it's going to come down to if the locker room takes him back, or if the locker room is going to say, hey, with Jack Del Rio, I got an issue with him. And depending on who the leader is, maybe it is Sweat, maybe it is one of the big guys that's there. If they say something, especially with everything that Dan Snyder is involved in, with everything, because again, it seems like this is the fifth story about the Washington Commanders in the last 6 to 8 months, over and over again, whether we're talking about Dan Snyder, whether we're talking about Jack Del Rio, whether we're talking about the old GM that used to be there. This is a constant issue, and I think that at some point, Goodell or somebody in the NFL is probably going to have a nice little conversation with everyone and figure out what's happening. And I hate to say, as the NCAA says, lack of institutional control, this is clearly a lack of institutional control within this whole organization from top to bottom.
One thing Khalil Mack said about Jack Del Rio when he played for him was Jack is very, very adamant in his opinions, and he sits down with anyone and he will talk to you about that. Terry McLaurin, Jonathan Allen, and Chase Young have already said, we love Jack because Jack's real and Jack says what he thinks and he doesn't bullshit. Some people say what you want to, what he said would piss people off, but you know where he stands. So I don't think he's going to lose a locker room. What you say is apropos. Bruce Allen, how about the whole thing going on with John Gruden? He won that major lawsuit, Hardline. So now more of the Washington's going to come out with those. I guarantee you, I don't want to change the subject on this, but when that thing starts on July 25th or something, that lawsuit, two things are going to happen. We're going to find out if Mark Davis knew about the emails early. We're going to find a lot more about Bruce Allen and the Commanders, Daniel Snyder, their emails. And the NFL is sweating this lawsuit more than anyone in any lawsuit in their history because it affects two owners, Bruce Allen's out, and we'll see. So you're right. That the Washington Commanders are always in the news for bad stuff. I mean, even Dwayne, the poor kid Dwayne Haskins, a great kid. Do you know Dwayne Haskins had a 4.0 at Ohio State? He graduated with honors, and he had a bad situation there, and he went to Pittsburgh, and he bonded with Tomlin. Tomlin said the kid was having a great. He had a chance to start, but it started with the bullshit. Started with the Commanders. I don't know. I mean, I don't know to tell you. There's dysfunction in all sports, in all leagues. Some teams seem to. I mean, you want to start? We can go to Cleveland Browns right now and watch the disaster that's going to happen there. You give a signing bonus to a guy who's going to miss his. I'm telling you right now, early. We're jumping. My early sources say it's an 8-game suspension at the least. Okay.
Yeah. So
it's an audition for Baker Mayfield.
$30 million, which you can't get back, which is irrevocable. I mean, wow.
Yeah. All right.
What do you think is going to happen with that? We have much time. What do you think? Because this is a big story. It's going to happen before we have this. I'll go from you, Johnny. You host the show. I'll ask what do you think the end game is with Deshaun Watson? And Dave, I'll go to you first because you have family. Your wife and your mother-in-law are big Browns fans. Are from that area.
Well, and again, I'm hearing a lot of people that are Browns fans that are not happy about this at all. They're not happy about the signing of Deshaun Watson. My guess is, and you said an 8-game suspension. I think it could be that or longer. And there's new cases coming up against him. So you got to think that, man, this thing's just not ending. So I don't think it's going to be good. I don't count the Browns in on anything. I mean, I picked the Browns to win the Super Bowl last year at the beginning of the season. And I just don't think, I don't think it's going to be good. Yeah.
We have a guy who's 68 to 70%. Listen to him. Don't go with the Angels. Don't go with the Browns. When we do our NFL picks in late July about who's going to win the Super Bowl, I'm going with Hardline. John, go ahead, Hardline. I'm sorry.
No, I can't pick the Browns to win the Super Bowl. This is just an audition for Baker Mayfield to see if anybody has any love for him left. That's why they're not letting him go, honestly. And I think that's the reason why, even though he's trying to fight his way out of it, they know what's about to come, and they need at least a solid to consistent backup, somebody that might just get them. If it is an 8-game suspension, 5-3, definitely would help. But honestly, I think the best situation probably for Deshaun Watson is, unfortunately, because what is he at 66 now? The number just keeps climbing, and it's kind of ridiculous. I think that he settles. There's no criminal proceedings happening, so he's going civil. I think that he settles. I think that the person that's leading the class action lawsuit with the law firm, I think he decides to come up with a non-disclosure agreement. They come to a settlement amount, and maybe that's why, honestly, he got that big payday from the Browns. Maybe they're telling him, look, we already know that you're going to have to take some of that personal money of yours, set it aside for whatever you're going to do in terms of this settlement, and then, you get suspended 8 games, be a pillar in the community, show up to practice, be a rah-rah guy, especially, support Baker Mayfield, and then when it comes, go from here. Unfortunately, this is the thing about sports, which is the cure and the ailment at the same time, is winning. If you're winning, everybody forgets. If you're losing, everybody remembers. And so if they continue with the losing culture that they have, they'll keep on and keep going from there. I mean, there's another guy that was in the division that had kind of a similar situation, and he kept winning, and everybody somewhat forgot about it.
Okay, John Daly, what happens if Baker Mayfield goes there for 8 games and goes 7-1?
Yeah.
There's always a Wally Pipp. You know Wally Pipp is, Hardline?
I got no idea who he is, but
Wally Pipp played for the New York Yankees, and he got injured. He was an all-star, and a guy named Lou Gehrig came in, and no one knew who Wally Pipp was anymore.
And Wally Pipp never played again.
Kurt Warner. Trent Green gets injured. Kurt Warner goes in. Trent Green was a Pro Bowl player.
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady. Drew Bledsoe. Boom.
Yeah.
So
cool. All right.
Baker Mayfield goes 7-1. Those progressive. Was he live in the stadium? They're gonna let him back in the stadium again. I like. You know what? I'm gonna piss a lot of people off. Deshaun Watson, even though he's made some bad moves, the players love him. He's a locker room. He's a great guy, and he's done a lot of great stuff in the community in Houston and in Cleveland right now. He's giving more money to he's building like Derek Carr's building a big in Fresno. He's building a hospital, a big auditorium for kids to play in. Deshaun Watson's built 4 of them in Houston
wow.
and Cleveland. He's taking his money and he's giving it back to the kids. I got much props for that.
Sure.
It's not going to exonerate him from this. He didn't think
No.
anything stupid. You know, I don't. On the last thing on that, and I want to take this longer. I don't blame Deshaun Watson. I blame the Browns for giving him the money. That's what I blame. You know, if I would never invest in something like that. But we'll see how it works out.
You got to blame Deshaun Watson if there's this many people that are coming forward saying he's, you know,
I blame
violating.
Deshaun Watson, but why would the Browns give him that kind of money and a re-signing bonus? That's you can't get back.
Yeah, it was a gamble. It was a gamble. That's right. All right. All right. Before we get going, one thing that I'm going to be watching this coming week is going to be the U.S. Open, the U.S. Golf Open. Now, a number of players who have moved to the Live Golf League will be eligible and allowed to play in the U.S. Open. That's tension enough. But think about this. What's going to crank it up further is the fact that the U.S. Open is in Boston at Brookline. Boston fans will not hold back. I cannot wait to hear the comments. You're going to hear a lot of yelling and screaming at that golf tournament. What are you guys thinking?
I'll go first because the hardline was so great in rehearsal. What he said, it's brilliant for our show. Say two things. One, if some league offered anyone $200 million like they did Mickelson, you got to go.
Yeah.
And isn't every guy in this tournament this weekend making $120,000 at least? You know, all
Even
the
if-
DeChambeau and
They won't
Reed.
be cut. Yep.
John, you're our aficionado on golf. I'm asking you. But people in Boston could talk all they want. If there was a rival football league like the USFL was, we talked about this, the NFL that gave Steve Young and Reggie White all you guys tremendous amount of money. If there was one right now and guys were jumping, let the NFL then match it.
Yeah. Well, and at the same time, too, you just don't. I mean, somebody's giving you a ton of money. It doesn't mean the league is going to respond or the league is going to be good. But Hardline, jump in here because you had some really good comments earlier before we were on air.
Yeah. So my biggest thing is, you know, everybody's upset about the Super PAC League. Everybody's upset about the LIV. My biggest question is this: the headline is, how can we as professional athletes, how can, you know, especially American professional athletes, support a league that's funded by Saudi money, like with everything, the human rights violations, everything that's going on in Saudi Arabia? My question is, that same money that people are complaining about, has it stopped them from being in the Premier League? Has it stopped them from being in Major League Soccer teams, you know, whether it's Manchester United or any of the other investments that they've made? My question to the viewers, my question to you guys is, if this was the Chinese, if the Chinese were the ones that were investing into this league and created it, would this be an issue, even though they have a slew of human rights violations that every year we talk about? They get the Olympics, they get all these other major sporting events, and nobody has a problem with them, even though they have a list of human rights violations a mile wide. But because it's the Saudis, there's an issue. If you're going to be upset with one, why would you not be upset with the other? And that's what I don't understand. If you're going to say the PGA is upset because they don't like the competition, I understand that. But look, if we're in the United States of America, we're in a free market system. If the PGA is not treating their players right and they're upset about it, they have the right to go someplace else. And look, they're making more money. I'm not going to knock anyone for going to get more money. And I know people are like, well, they're millionaires. You know, Tiger just got made a billionaire. But at the same time, look, not everybody's there. And if you're going to get guaranteed money for just showing up, I'm going. Look, if you told me I get a guaranteed $100,000 for just showing up to work today, whether I do anything or not, I'm coming in. So I'm not going to blame any of these guys for going and taking the money and trying to be in a different organization that might be better, because we don't know if they're more player-centric than the PGA Tour has been. Because you can't tell me that these players haven't had grievances with the PGA, and the PGA probably has already told them, where are you going to go? Now you got an option.
Yeah. Hugh Douglas. Yeah, go ahead, John.
No, I was going to say, there's a good point, and I think your point would be really well taken if there was a lot of the younger players going. The fact that we're seeing older players who are kind of towards the end of their career, they're taking the money and running. I mean, they're like, you know what? Hey, you know, the chances of, you know, really, Kevin Na was the one probably who would win a tournament. Maybe DeChambeau. DeChambeau, I think, is injured. I think he's hurt himself. You know, Phil's just very confused as far as what's going on. Dustin Johnson is, he's kind of adult. I mean, he doesn't get it. So it's not like if John Rahm goes, if JT goes, if Spieth goes, yeah, then I think that makes a lot of sense. I just think there's the majority of players who are the younger players who are coming up. They really want the tradition of, playing in the majors, playing in different tournaments that mean a lot to them. And so I agree with you in the sense that, hey, you know what? I don't care about human rights. I don't care about anything. I want my money. I'm going to protect my family. I'm going to make sure I'm okay. That's okay. That's fine. But don't be afraid, but don't be surprised when, the regular golf fans don't love you. So it's out there. I got problems with the Saudis. The Saudis are sports washing. They're trying to get away from, they're trying to get everybody to love them, even though they do what they want to do. I mean, talk about women's rights. I mean, there's barely any women's rights there. Granted, it's been a little bit better.
Wait. China has the most human rights violations of anyone in the world right now.
Absolutely.
They're a major power.
But they're not buying a lead.
1,000,000,000% right. Hugh Douglas, Pro Bowl linebacker for the Philadelphia Eagles, said this, and I say this to John all the time. Daily, we're walking our talks. He goes, no matter what sport you play, Hardline, it's all about the M&Ms, money and memories, and get as many as you can before you're out. And Hardline, I'm telling you, man, if someone offered you $200 million to go do a podcast in a midget lingerie league, you're gone. All right, bye, Daily, bye, Fish. No, I'm serious. Anything. If the Chinese billionaires put together another NBA and they're paying all these, Steph Curry, want to pay you $80 million a year. Bye.
Yeah.
And it just, I get it. You're right, John. I don't think they're going to be booing these guys. I don't think they give a shit. Okay. Yeah. And I'll tell you this too. If the LIV folds after one tournament, I promise you the PGA they suspended all these guys. They'll bring them right back in.
Oh, easy.
Yeah,
but
they're not going to fold.
But here's
they're
the
not
thing.
Going to fold. They're going to be around for a while.
So there's one aspect that they might have that's better than the PGA, and it depends on how they swing it, which would be how do they let these guys determine their brand recognition and their brand, and how do they invest in that, or how do they let these people and their teams invest in the super PAC? Meaning, golf is a traditionalist sport. There's a certain way that you function. And there's a lot of younger guys that are like, look, it's an arduous sport to watch. It takes all day. What would happen if this super PAC decided to invest in not only people's social medias, but their brand, and allow them maybe to do a couple other things that the PGA has said that's off limits that draws more attention for that? Everybody's a brand. Everybody's got something. What if you're putting Twitter, Facebook, Instagrams, maybe you're letting guys do TikTok videos, that they could show beforehand. There's a lot of things that they have open that I don't think the PGA is going to let happen that they could capitalize on.
This is a bad analogy, Daly, but we're looking to get sponsored, and we're doing everything we can. Heidi, the three of us. If Road and Track magazine came to us and said, we're going to sponsor you guys and give you a tremendous amount of money, but your content's going to be about alternators and engines, guess who's under a hood in 30 minutes? Me. Everything I can. That's the way of the world. I have no problem with this league whatsoever. Yeah. And the great thing about it, we're not talking about, it brings attention to the sport of golf. And it's a good, I'm sorry, it brings attention to something that's not domestic violence, that's not what Watson's going through, or lawsuits. I love it.
Yeah.
Yep, I would agree, and it is and it's fascinating just to see how it ties into what's going on, especially in world politics and stuff like that. My thing is that what if one of the players speaks out against Saudi Arabia? Do they get kicked out of the league? Good. That's the thing, because there's going to be some atrocities that are going on in the Middle East.
What are you going to do? What are you speaking about Saudi Arabia? What if these royal princes and these Saudi guys throw these huge parties in these palaces and stuff like that, and you've got all kinds of women flying over from from all over Scandinavia and America. You have caviar flown in. They're going to take care of these guys, and you're going to do it. And you're right. John Daly's right. They want to take their attention away from the journalist that was Khashoggi. They want to do all the look. how many guys in the 9/11? 21 of the guys were Saudis. That's the past.
Yeah.
Let's move forward. I can't tell you how proud I am of you with that comment. I never thought about that. If the Chinese did this, and
Yeah.
look, the Chinese.
think-
Daryl Morey said something. Daryl Morey, you brought him up earlier, said something about the Chinese that pissed them off, and Yao Ming. The Chinese pulled everything from the NBA. But
Yeah.
at least the NBA had the balls. Thank God. I love the NBA had the balls to stick behind Daryl Morey, because when you say something that's true, stand by it.
No, I totally agree. And look, I agree with what Daryl Morey said. The backlash was they lost millions of dollars, and not the CBA, and the amount of money that they were able to give out for contracts suffered because of that, because they lost all that TV revenue from the Chinese audience. That's the backside of it. What he said was right. It's just the long-term effect of who got paid got affected by that.
Yeah. My concern is that they're in Saudi Arabia, and then there's just been a mass execution of 37 civilians like they've done already a number of times. What do these golfers have to say? So
Right.
are they going to say anything?
What do these golfers have to say, John, about we had an unbelievable weekend of mass shootings here in America, at a wedding, at a supermarket. I mean, we've had mass shootings left and right. So we're laughed upon in the world stage. So I mean, I mean, there's so much crap going on in this world right now. We have a committee right now looking into an insurrection that possibly a president was involved in. So we have to look at our own selves in the mirror as a country and say, what are we doing, and who are we to talk about somebody else? I love the fact that there is another league, and who's supporting it. I love the fact that it's bringing attention to John. You're the biggest golf enthusiast that I know. Okay, and a sport, partisan, that is 62% higher in the ratings when a man named Tiger Woods makes the cut, needs this kind of attention. Okay, because we need to. What you like golf, and you like the sport, and we all watch the majors, and there's great stories, and there's great drama, and the stories of these guys that Patrick Reed could be a dick and he won, and you get what's the guy Bubba Watson is bipolar and he wins. Okay, Dustin Johnson gets to sleep with Wayne Gretzky's daughter and look at him and say, "I think you're the great one, huh? Look at me." I love it. I love the fact we have this forum. The three of us could talk about it. I'll tell you what, real quick. I know we're gonna get out of here soon because Daily's got to go play 18. I'm binge watching. Do you guys have Amazon?
I do.
Have you guys watched The Boys with
I
Carl
love it.
Urban?
I've heard about it.
Okay, it's back, and it's back, and it's back, and it's bold. Do you watch it, Hard-On? You caught up? We got to get Daly and his wife. It's a little gruesome, but you know what it's about, right, Daly?
Yeah, it's the superheroes that are bad guys.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically, not all of them, but the guy that plays Homelander, there's not a better character on TV. He's the most vicious, diabolical. He's Superman. He's a Superman guy from America, but that's all I'm going to say. We got Stranger Things. We've got that. But the greatest thing we could binge watch is these 2 out of 3. I hope the NBA goes 7, guys. What about you?
Yep. I'm hoping
Absolutely.
as well. Yeah. I hope both of them do. It'd be perfect. It's really great. Plus, it'll give us something to talk about. All right. Hey, Hardline, we're going to get your bets on Monday on the show, especially for the U.S. Open as well. We're also going to have our Schmuck of the Week and Who's Got Sweat. We might already had our Schmuck of the Week. Now we're waiting on a few guests. Former ump, Major League ump Joe West, he wanted to come on, but he's not going to be free until July. We're also waiting on, get this, Jamie Valvano. She's the daughter of the late Jimmy V, the great Jimmy V. She definitely wants to come on. She wants to talk about the fact that Ray Romano is going to play her dad in an upcoming movie. We have actress Romy Rosemont. She's going to be on soon, but she's shooting right now in Europe, so she's going to be on a little bit later. So the good news is we have a lot of folks that want to come on and want to be with us and want to chit-chat with us. So that's going to be coming up. So we'll fill you in as to who we have. And folks, just a reminder, Daily Fish is live on Facebook at daily.fish.5. It's on Mondays at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. Watch us also on Facebook at Myrtle Beach Golf Channel and Myrtle Beach Grand Strand Life. You can check out Daily Fish on YouTube and Wingding TV. And I teased this in the beginning. Here is a new channel that's going to be carrying Daily Fish. We are also on Hey Vegas TV out of Las Vegas. And you can go to their site. It's Hey, Hey, there it is, Hey Vegas TV.com. You got the site right there. And, watch us there, support them. We're really looking forward to being on there with them. You can also listen to us on Spotify, Apple, iHeart, Stitcher, and Amazon as well. And folks, that's about all we got. My God, man, we filled in almost 40 minutes of chit-chatting there.
And one of the best hooks we ever had. But do you really think when women categorize our penises as this, you think that Jimmy Tarante's knows? Come on. I mean, look, I was circumcised, so I don't know about you guys, but can you imagine when a girl look at that? When you get naked and she starts singing, "If you know Susie like I know Susie," I love you guys. This is a great. Hey, I hate to be a weather guy, but Hardline and I are going to get to. It's hot. We have major heat alerts. 110. So I'm in. I'm watching sports, going to the pool, coming back, drinking, going to the pool, watching sports, begging my wife so she could, basically look at this all day and then laugh. And then, what are you doing, Deli? What's the weather there, and what's your plan today?
A little overcast, a little. It's warm and humid, not like what you guys are going through. We'll be probably playing some golf and kind of just getting ready for Daily Fish on Monday. I know the things I've got to endure. So, hey, I just came back from a trip from West Palm Beach doing some work down there, and my flights got canceled. And so trying to get back in, what's going on is just.
What did you do?
So I'm
what
resting.
did you do? Because
what did I do?
You like to use the bathrooms on planes, so you must have held it in for 15 hours.
It was horrible. It was awful. Actually, what I had to do is I flew West Palm Beach. I got to Charlotte, but I couldn't get Charlotte to Myrtle Beach. And so the company that hired me, they just said, just get a ride. So I had my driver come. He drove all the way up, 4 hours, drove back, and it was cheaper than what the flight would have been. So, but, it was.
You know what? I'm going to be real here. But Hardline, two grunts like us, two speakers. Fuck this guy got a driver. We're doing.
I was like Richie Rich over here, man. Had a driver.
I don't be cheating. I'm not spending $130 fucking on an Uber. I'll thumb it. I don't care. I'm gonna get some hick to pick. Yeah, he has a driver. You know what?
I'd just be on Greyhound, man. I'd be old Greyhound in it.
He has a driver. I love this guy. You know what he does with the driver? He tells it. He gets in the back of the limo. They do his hair and makeup. Can you pass the Grey Poupon? You and I are in the back of a moped. 110 degrees. Need a bottle of water.
You know what? I got a problem with that. It's you didn't say Grey Poupon correctly.
Look at this. Casey Abrams, one of our biggest fans, great bartender in town here in Las Vegas. Shout out to the Standard. I got Colleen on here. She works at the Lodge. Chuck's Tavern. Poor guy. I'll tell you, John, you have a driver. He's got first of all, he's got a driver Hardline. He doesn't get out and use his driver. Golfing. Give me some cheese and crackers, guy. I love you guys. We got to go on that note.
Yeah, you got to stop whining.
Send your driver to Hardison and take him over to my house and go watch little Celtics and hockey, man. Don't worry, John. While you get things catered by Wolfgang Puck, we're gonna go Subway. All right.
Nice.
Let you guys go, buddy.
All right, guys. Love.